Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
In the delicate arena of compliance, every conversation matters. Traditional methods can leave callers feeling unheard, but Ethico changes the game. Our empathetic interview technique reshapes compliance calls into powerful, compassionate interactions, ensuring no crucial detail is missed. It's about creating a conversation that matters, that resonates, that makes a difference. Be the change in your compliance approach. See the transformation for yourself at ethico.com/CPN. Book a demo, try our free ROI calculator, and explore the white paper by Tom Fox, The ROI of Compliance.
The Daily Compliance News for May 8, 2024, the Broken Culture Edition. And we begin with that story from the Wall Street Journal finance section as a massive report released about the FDIC found a culture rife with sexual harassment and discrimination. The report finds that sexual harassment, bullying, and discrimination have long pervaded the FDIC, with perpetrators often receiving reassignments, even promotions, according to a blistering report on the agency culture that calls into question the leadership of Chairman Martin Gruenberg. The report by the law firm Cleary Gottlieb described people familiar with the matter, and the FDIC is expected to make the report available at some point. More than 500 of the agency's employees were contacted by the law firm to recount their experiences of misconduct at the agency. Some of it's really bad, including women being subjected to naked photos from senior bank examiners, male supervisors visiting strip clubs and making lewd comments to female colleagues, forcing many of them to quit. Next up, from the Washington Post, an Italian governor has been accused in a corruption probe, has been placed under house arrest. The governor of the Italian region surrounding the port city of Genoa was placed under house arrest as part of a corruption investigation, alleging he granted political favors in exchange for money. Wow, sounds like he could be in America. Next up, from the Financial Times, it reports that the the Biden administration has revoked export licenses that allow Intel and Qualcomm to supply Huawei with semiconductors, as Washington increases the pressure on the Chinese telecom equipment company. The Commerce Department's move affects the supply of chips for Huawei's laptop computers and mobile phones, driving Huawei to find sourcing elsewhere, most probably inside of China. Gee, that'll work, won't it? And our final story comes to us from the New York Times, which reports that the reason behind Nigeria's arrest of a Binance employee alleged is to be the company's refusal to pay a extortion, bribe request, something of roughly $150 million. The Binance compliance officer, Tigran Gambaran, understood that his message was someone in Nigeria wanted a bribe in the Nigerian government, and that if they didn't make that payment, there would be consequences. Well, those consequences turned out to be he'd be arrested. So what's the moral of this story? If someone makes a extortion payment or extortion demand, pay it. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, this month's sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Have you ever wondered how to show the ROI of your compliance program? Have you struggled with the budgeting process, getting the funds you want for your compliance program? Well, I've partnered with Ethico to put together a white paper on the ROI of compliance, which shows you not only how to demonstrate ROI, but also how to speak finance when you're sitting across from the CFO with your budget proposals. Check out the website and get the white paper. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.